I'm Nyla Boodoo, the Changing Gears reporter in Chicago, and I'm on the line with Dan Bobkoff, my colleague in Cleveland.
Hey, Nyla.
Hey, Dan, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to talk to you about the Reinventing Our Cities series and talk to you about what went into Pittsburgh. What were your impressions of Pittsburgh before you went there?
Well, I had never been to Pittsburgh before I took the drive down there to see why Pittsburgh is being held up as this model for our region. And I had no idea what a high-tech city this has become. And you see technology companies everywhere, and Google just this month is officially opening their new office there. And there's a real vibrancy there that I didn't quite expect coming down from Cleveland and having traveled around the region, where people, rightly or wrongly, are so down on this region and on their cities, that when I got to Pittsburgh, I was really blown away by how optimistic people are there, that there's a sense that there are real opportunities and jobs, and that they really turned the corner from the tough days of the 80s when the steel industry collapsed.
So, Dan, obviously there's a lot of optimism. It sounds like people are really excited about Pittsburgh. What's the downside to all of this?
Right. The population just had a slight uptick in the last census, but it's really just at that tipping point. For instance, a lot of people left in the early 80s to find opportunities elsewhere. That's left the Pittsburgh region with an aging population. So it's not perfect. There's still work to be done, but it still holds up, I think, as a model of relative success in the post-industrial Midwest.
Well, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Nyla.
Next up, we have Sarah Hulett from Michigan Public Radio. Hey, Sarah, what do you think about the Detroit-Pittsburgh comparison?
Yeah, so I think that the groundwork is being laid to do some of the kind of work that Pittsburgh has done. We've had very recently a delegation that went to Pittsburgh to check out what they did, and they're now kind of coming back and reviewing that and seeing, what lessons Detroit might borrow. But it's just a looser sort of structure than you have in Pittsburgh. And it's going to take a lot of time, I think, for Detroit to see the kind of progress that Pittsburgh has seen, partly because it is so big.
Thanks, Sarah. And finally, I'm joined by Michael Puente, who reported from Gary, Indiana. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So unlike Pittsburgh, Gary still has a lot of steel. Are they worried about it going away?
Right now, there isn't a fear that U.S. Steel can just pick up and take off. Although Gary's trying to diversify its job base, it's having a little bit more difficult time doing it than, say, Pittsburgh. Gary's much smaller than Pittsburgh. It has about 100,000 people. So the city's kind of in a catch-22 where I'm sure it wants to diversify its economic base, but it has very little options at this point. There aren't too many Fortune 500 companies like Google looking to, banging down the door, looking to get into Gary.
Thanks, Mike. So that's the backstory from the reporters who put together Reinventing Our Cities. I'm Nyla Boodoo. To check out all the audio stories from the series, visit changinggears.info.